to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Sunday night, June the 8th. I am your host, Michael Leva. Hope everyone had an outstanding weekend. And we are on the eve of Miami Dolphins minicamp, so I want to go over a few things today on the show. Got a few tidbits to talk about. But before we get to that, let's get the business out of the way. If you're watching on YouTube right now, do me a favor, smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. Please make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It does us a big help. So right now, if you're on YouTube, smash it. Subscribe. Also, shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Caneswear. Everyone, if you're looking for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet, Father's Day is almost here. Need something for dad? Go to the website, caneswear.com. Also, if you're in South Florida, stop by their store at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. They have Miami Dolphins hats, shirts, jackets, jerseys, shorts, anything for the office or home with the Miami Dolphins logo on it. The most affordable place to get Miami Dolphins apparel. They also have stuff for the Florida Panthers, the Miami Hurricanes, the Miami Heat, the Marlins, and a lot of the college teams in South Florida. But for the Dolphins, Caneswear.com is the place you want to go. One last thing real quick here. Our Military Fan of the Year contest that we run here at DolphinsTalk.com is ongoing. You have till July 7th to submit your entry. If you have served in the military or if you are serving and you're a fan of the Dolphins, you want to win 2 tickets, a parking pass, and $100 from us. Send in an email. All the information's up on our social media account. All the information's up on our website. And you can submit your entry to be the Dolphins Talk 2025 Military Fan of the Year and win a little package to a Miami Dolphins home game this year. All right, let's get to the news. Miami Dolphins mini camp starts on Monday. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network put out a report on Sunday. Not much of a surprise, really, that Jalen Ramsey will not be there. He will not be on site. I know there are some fans who think that the Miami Dolphins would force him to show up or fine him into oblivion and make him pay. Or some fans think this can actually still be saved at some point or salvaged and have him come back. That ship has sailed, folks. And having him there at minicamp does nobody any good. He is not on the same page with the organization, and having him around would just be a huge distraction for everyone there, including the coaching staff. And when they do their media sessions every day, that's all they're going to be asked. At least now they're going to be asked about it once, and then they'll probably just move on. But if he's there every day, just standing on the sideline, it'll make it just a complete circus. So it does nobody any good. The ship has sailed. He will be traded. In the worst case, they can't trade him. He will be released in the next, 6 to 8 weeks, some point, whenever it happens. They just don't want him around. And I don't blame them because it's not good for the culture, so to speak, having a guy who has no future here and who doesn't want to be here around. So that is that. No update on Jonnu Smith. Here's the deal when it comes to Jonnu and Zach Sealer. Those two guys want new deals. Jonnu will get traded here in the next few weeks. And I think with the Rodgers signing in Pittsburgh, I think the Jonnu trade might actually happen real soon because, they have a 1-year window now in Pittsburgh to try and win with Aaron Rodgers. And they're probably going to want to surround him with as much talent as possible. Plus, they already lost a tight end out for the year with an Achilles injury. So I think Jonnu to Pittsburgh is probably going to happen. If it happened this week, I would not be shocked. In fact, I kind of expect it to happen this week. So he will probably be on site for minicamp, but he will not participate. He'll be standing on the sideline. Same with Zach Sealer. I know this one's kind of flown under the radar, and a lot of fans might even be aware. Is it an official holdout per se? No, but is he going to participate in any of the OTAs? Well, he hasn't so far, and he will not participate at minicamp either. He wants a new deal. He wants more money, and, he's going about it in a quieter way in a more professional way, maybe. But Zach Sealer will not participate in this mandatory minicamp. I'd be shocked. Let me say it that way. I don't know for sure. I'd be shocked if he's on the field doing anything because it's just not good business. So, yeah. So I think on Monday when they start the minicamps, everyone will be there except Ramsey won't be there. Jonnu and Sealer will be on the sideline, not participating. And obviously, Tyreek Hill with the wrist injury, he will not be participating in any of the drills either, but he'll be there. So that's where we are on the eve of minicamp. Article from CBS Sports. Interesting article. They ranked the 5 worst off seasons in the NFL. Which 5 teams had the worst off seasons in the NFL? And Miami's on the list. Not shocking. They're the Lions with the 5th worst. Miami came in 4th. And the 3 teams worse than Miami were Cleveland, San Francisco, and the Saints. Well, we're not going to spend time talking about the Lions, Cleveland, San Francisco, or the Saints. We're going to hone in on what they said about the Miami Dolphins with the 4th worst offseason this year. A lot of what they said is kind of stuff I've said on the show the past week or so, if not even longer. This roster's taken a huge step back from where it was in 2023. It's taken a huge step back from where it was in 2024. This is a roster with a ton of holes, specifically on defense, and the question marks around the offensive line really haven't been answered, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's unbiased opinion either. I know some of the diehard fans think everyone we signed is just going to be like an upgrade. I'm not sure if that's the case, but here's what the article said. And it's a few paragraphs. I'm not going to read the whole thing word for word. I'm going to skim to some of the more important parts. It said, under Mike McDaniel, the Miami Dolphins are 24-9 versus non-playoff teams and 4-14 versus playoff teams. McDaniel is also looking for the first postseason win. Did the Miami Dolphins improve this offseason? It's hard to answer in the affirmative when you lose talent like Javon Holland in free agency. Miami had a solid draft and put an emphasis on shoring up the trenches with guys like Kenneth Grant, Jordan Phillips, and offensive guard Jonas Anavea. But those are players are those the guys that will get Miami over the hump? The vibes feel low in Miami. The Miami Dolphins offseason, it got off to a terrible start when Tyreek Hill told reporters in the locker room he was out directly after the regular season finale. Hill did more than just walk back those comments. Hill came to OTAs humble and focused on winning back the trust of his teammates. Hill even said he doesn't deserve to be voted a team captain. That's honorable, but I would rather have Tyreek, the outspoken, confident personality that believes Tua is the best quarterback of all time, than Tyreek, the somber wide receiver who is the subject of trade rumors. Speaking of trade rumors, cornerback Jalen Ramsey is expected to be dealt soon. General Manager Chris Greer made it clear in April Ramsey wouldn't be on the roster in 2025, and it's a huge hit to what could be the worst secondary in the NFL this season. Not a lot of lies told there. Really, there's not a lot of lies told there. First off, the McDaniel record of 24-9 versus non-playoff teams, 4-14 versus playoff teams. That's an issue. We know that's one of the things. Mike McDaniel, I say this term, people sometimes take it the same way. Front-running head coach. He's a guy where if you give him a lead against a team that's bad, he will run it up on them. And there is no such thing as running it up in the NFL, but he is a guy who likes to play from in front versus a team where he has more talent than them. He will, more times than not, bring home a win. When Mike McDaniel has to go into a game where the other team has more talent than him and he has to navigate the team to a win, coach the team to a win, out-scheme the other coaches, he can't. Hence 4-14. He just can't. That's why I say Mike McDaniel is bad at his job and one of the worst head coaches in the NFL. This isn't year 1. This isn't year 2. This is going into what now? Year 4? I mean, you either have it or you don't, and he clearly doesn't. So that right there, when you see the numbers put in front of your face, that's alarming. Now, the Holland thing, I know, look, 2 things can be true at the same time. Javon Holland had a bad 2024 season. True. Javon Holland is still a very young, promising, excellent safety in the NFL. That's also true. You cannot forget about the first 3 seasons Holland had in Miami where he was better than excellent. So, yes, he had a bad year last year. It doesn't mean you want him gone forever. So, losing Holland was a huge loss. Then you combine that with losing Ramsey, and your secondary is, pardon my French, shit. And it's shit right now on June 8th, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. So you have to factor that in. Then you look at the draft, like he said, they got some promising young players. Grant, Phillips, Jonas Anavea are probably the top 3 at that list. They will probably all contribute in some capacity this year. 2 of them are going to start. With that said, they're rookies. They're rookies. You don't know. We like to think we know. We don't know. Nobody thought Noah Ibenagany was going to be a total bust. No one thought Charles Harris was going to be a total bust. No one thought Deion Jordan, 3rd pick of the draft, was going to be a total bust. Guess what? They're all busts. And there were times leading up to that year, fans of the Dolphins, we got Deion Jordan. We got Charles Harris. We got Noah. We didn't think there'd be busts, but sometimes players are busts. So, well, yes, it's promising with Grant and Phillips and Jonas Anavea. It's promising. But we don't know. So to just say, well, we got these guys, pencil them in, we'll be fine. It's just, it's wish casting. You're hoping that's the case. We don't know that's the case. And I think the paragraph in this article that really hit the nail on the head about vibes being low in Miami. Yeah, vibes are low in Miami because we're about to trade Ramsey. We're about to trade Jonnu Smith. And we know Tyreek Hill, he did want out after the last game last year. He did have to walk it back. He does have to say things like, I don't deserve to be captain. But we know if he's not voted captain, he's probably going to throw a temper tantrum. And we also know he's coming off the worst season of his life last year. And we also know he had 2 surgeries on his wrist this year. And we also know that he's probably going to be traded after this year or cut because Miami doesn't want to put up with this stuff. We also know he has a court date in the middle of the season. Like, it's a lot. So, yeah, vibes are low in Miami, just around Hill alone. And then you got the quarterback who can't seem to stay healthy, doesn't want to protect himself. There's just a lot going on with the Dolphins. The roster's taking a step back. I know everyone doesn't think that, but I think most objective people aren't fans of the team, or at least can be objective enough to just look at this honestly. The roster isn't as good as it was in 2024. The roster's gotten worse. Now, maybe long-term with some of these young kids, if they pan out, great. We got a foundation to build on. But is that going to show us results in 2025? Probably not. Probably not, if we're being honest. And then you got a head coach who just isn't, can't beat good teams, can't win big road games. That's a problem. And then you factor in the quarterback can't stay healthy and all the drama around Hill. Yeah, vibes are low in Miami. Vibes are low. And I can see why someone would rank them the 4th worst offseason. Yeah, it hasn't been a great March, April, May. Let me just leave it. March, April, May is very disappointing for the Dolphins. They had an opportunity, if they wanted to restructure the deal of Tua, open up $19 million, go out, sign a couple players. They had an opportunity to restructure and extend Zach Sealer, open up some salary cap space, go out and sign a couple players. They did not. They had an opportunity to restructure the deal of Jordan Brooks, a guy who played very well last year. You think should be here more than the next year or two, extend him, open up some cap space, go out there, sign a few players. They did not. They went with we're going to, let some of these veterans go. We're going to try and replace them with rookies and 2nd, 3rd level free agents like an Ashton Davis, not a starter in this league, probably going to start for us. That's problematic. A Fede Malafano, not a starter in this league, always hurt, probably going to start for us. That's problematic. And who knows what can do a cornerback. And on the line too, Benito Jones shouldn't be starting in this league. He's probably going to start for us. That's problematic. So yeah, I can see why vibes are low. Can't get mad at the article. Lions, I don't know what Lions didn't have a horrible offseason. I'd have to research it more, see who actually left and who's there. Them on the list is weird. Cleveland at 3, obviously, because of the quarterback situation. I kind of get San Francisco lost a lot. And the Saints, obviously, because of Carr. I get those. The Lions wouldn't have to research, but I understand why Miami's on the list. Real quick before we get to the rest of the show, shout out to everyone listening at finheaven.com. Everyone go to finheaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, a shout out to our friends at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page run by the great and talented Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Podbean, Podchaser, YouTube, subscribe. I am working on a few big interviews for this week and next week. You're not going to want to miss. So as soon as those drops, you want that notification on your smart device that there's a new show. Trust me. Last time I said this, I gave you Zach Thomas. It might not be as big as Zach Thomas, but these are going to be some big interviews you won't want to miss. Also, Dolphins Talk Extra, patreon.com/DolphinsTalk, $3 a month. We got so much good stuff up there. You're not going to want to miss a private message board, bonus podcast, interactive podcast where you can come on with us. Plus, we have a ton of contests where we give away Miami Dolphins autographs and apparel and memorabilia. All right, last topic of today's show. I'm talking Tua. This is the one podcast where we don't harp on Tua 24/7, 365, but it is June. Mini camp is here. I got to talk a little Tua. And I know some fans of the Dolphins get really oversensitive anytime they hear a conversation about Tua. And, they get in their feelings, get their emotion. Why are you so negative about him? Why are you so positive about him? No matter what you say, half the people hate you. You just can't win. Since day one-ish, this podcast here at DolphinsTalk.com have treated Tua like every other player. When he does stuff that's good, we say it's good. When he does stuff that's bad, we say it's bad. We pull no punches. We are stating, not hating. So here we go. And if you're one of those people who gets too emotional about this, just stop listening now. I don't have time for you anymore. We're all adults here. Let's have an adult conversation about a football player. We're not saving the world. We're talking football, for Christ's sakes. Okay, Tua's going into year 6. What can we expect? And a couple of questions around him heading into this year I think are fair. Number 1, has Tua reached his ceiling? Number 2, can Tua stay healthy? And number 3, can Tua lead this team in a big game and to a win in a big game on the road? Can he win a big game just at home, pretty much? And can he lead this team to a big road win? Those are 3 big questions, I think, heading into this year around Tua. I'm sure there's more, but those are 3 at the top of my list. So those are the questions we need answered. And I'm going to share my thoughts on it. And once again, if you don't agree, that's fine. I'm going to share my thoughts on these 3 questions. Number 1 is Tua reached his ceiling. And I think the short answer is yes. I feel we've seen the best of Tua at this point. Kind of is what he is. I don't know if his game, and I know many fans think with an improved offensive line, we'll see Tua take his game to a new level and he'll play better. I'm not so sure. I buy into that. I think the Tua we've seen is a Tua we got. And quick release and pinpoint accuracy and great when he's not playing on the road in the cold and the wet and the rain and the snow. And I think after 5 years, which is large enough of a sample size in my eyes, I don't know if we see a drastic jump in his play. I think you can give him the best offensive line in the league. I don't know if that would help much. Yeah, he'd be a little better, I'm sure. I don't know if that's going to make him, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I just don't. And he's also a guy who doesn't really elevate the players around him so much. With some quarterbacks, look at the Bills, Josh Allen. Their wide receivers last year were not great at all. And I know this might not be fair because Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL today. But, he elevates the wide receivers he has. He makes them better. With Tua, if Hill's not out there, if Waddle's not out there, they kind of struggle, which is why this trade of Jonnu Smith that's about to happen kind of has me nervous because, we saw last year teams take away Hill and Waddle, and if there's no Jonnu, who are we going to throw to? You can throw to Etienne a little bit. We have no tight ends to throw to. The number 3 and 4 wide receivers are okay, but they're not like great. So yeah, that's something there that I think he's reached his ceiling. Again, he's going into year 6 here, folks. He's not a kid anymore. He's been around the block a time or two, and I think he is who he is. And again, that's not necessarily bad. I just don't know if he's going to raise his game any higher than what we've already seen. So that's how I feel about the first question. Question 2, can Tua stay healthy? And again, I don't believe so. What proof do we have of that? The 1 year he stayed healthy, he was playing for a contract. He put on a little bit of weight. He spent a lot of time doing jitsu in the offseason, all that stuff. And he protected himself more than anything. He protected himself. He didn't take the unnecessary hits that year. Why? Because he wanted that big fat paycheck. He wanted all the money. Show me the money. He wanted it all. Everyone remembers when he said, "Show me the money," right? I think I got a clip of it. Let me see if I got the clip. Show me the money. Where is it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Here it is.
I tell you what, show me the money!
Yeah, show you the money. And once you got it, you went back to not protecting yourself. And the Tua we saw pre the new contract, we saw last year a guy who was reckless with his body, refused to slide. When he threw interceptions, he went in for the tackles when everyone's told him a million times, don't, it's not worth it. Can't afford you to take a hit. He's diving head first on Monday night versus the Rams, trying to make a tackle. Why? It doesn't make any sense. We can't risk losing you. We need you on the field. Even though he didn't get hurt that time, again, he doesn't think, he's not protecting his body. We saw the game versus Green Bay, not for versus Houston last year, where he hurt the hip. He's, out of the pocket, diving. If he gets out of the pocket, he's got to do three things. He's got to do one of three things: throw it, get out of bounds, or just fall to the ground and slide. He didn't do it. He's out there fighting for meaningless yards in a game that was pretty much over. And he hurt his hip and he missed the last few games. Again, seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. And I haven't seen this guy really protect himself at all. And he stands up at the press conference and he'll say the right things at the press conference. He knows how to smooth everyone over and say the right things. But he gets on the field, he just refuses to do it. And I know some fans go, he's just so competitive. You can't get that competitiveness out of him. And I say, bullshit. If you're getting paid $50 million and you're told, be smart, slide, get out of bounds, don't take unnecessary hits, guess what? Follow some goddamn orders and do it. Competitiveness, come on, he's a smart kid. He ain't no idiot. He knows what to do. And the fact he refuses to do it, works against him here. So, question 2, can Tua stay healthy? I don't think so. It's just a matter of, is he going to miss 6 games or 3 games? Is he going to miss 4 games or 5 games? It's a matter of how many, not if he will play a full 17. And it's unfortunate because I think if this kid is out there for 17 games, I think most years Miami will at least be in a wild card mix. But if he's only out there for 12, he's only out there for 10 games a year, only out there for 11 games a year, Zach Wilson ain't it. Quinn Ewers ain't it. Those guys aren't going to win you a lot of games and lead you to the playoffs. So that's question 2. Now, question 3's got a little bit more nuance in it. Can Tua lead this team in a big game, and can he win a big road game? And with the first 2 questions, I'm pretty confident with my answers. It's like no. With this one, the answer is no, but there have been games versus the Bills on the road where Tua is not the reason we lost. Now, he's also not the reason we won. Okay, let's say that. He's also not the reason we won, but he's also not the reason we lost. But in a lot of big games, man, he plays bad. In the playoff game versus the Chiefs, it was cold for everybody. He played bad. And that last game at home versus the Bills in 2023, he played bad. Week before versus the Ravens, he played bad. Last year versus Houston, played bad. Last year versus the Bills, the first game, played bad. Last year versus the Packers, everyone talks about the second half of that game. The game was lost in the first half. You know why it was lost in the first half? Tua played bad. Tua plays bad against a lot of the good teams. And we don't have a sample size. Yes, the Mike McDaniel's first year versus the Ravens, where he threw all those touchdowns, mainly in the fourth quarter. He had a great quarter, and they won, which is great. But those are the exceptions, not the norm. Okay? Those are the exceptions, not the norm. And I always say this, and it's kind of like riding the fence, but it's not riding the fence. I think it's reality. Tua is not a bad quarterback, but he isn't great. He's a middle-of-the-road quarterback. He's ordinary, and there's nothing wrong with ordinary. But if your expectation is that Tua is going to bring you division titles and Super Bowls, and someday he's going to be standing on a podium hoisting an AFC Championship trophy or hoisting a Lombardi trophy, I'm afraid I got some bad news for you, folks. It ain't going to happen. Tua isn't him. Tua isn't that guy. He's a serviceable, capable NFL starting quarterback. And there's nothing wrong with that. No, that's who he is, though. He's not a guy who's going to put the team on his back when someone's having an off day and drag him to a win. Maybe he'll do it once every 3 years. But if you want to win in the playoffs, you want to win the AFC East, you want to get to a Super Bowl, you want to win Super Bowl, you need a quarterback who can do it more than that. And Tua doesn't do it enough. And when you factor in all the other stuff, like he can't stay healthy, like maybe he's already hit his ceiling. I don't know. I think the Tua we've seen is a Tua we're going to get in 2025. Again, not bad. No one's saying he's bad. And if you're taking what I'm saying as me crapping on him and saying he's bad, that's a you problem. Again, stating, not hating. I'm clearly stating he's not bad, but he's not a guy who's going to ever lead you to the promised land. He's not a guy who will lead you to an AFC East. He's not a guy who's going to lead you to playoff wins. He hasn't done it in 5 years. And the roster this year is taking a step back. On offense, it's taking a smaller step back, but again, left tackle, a little bit of a downgrade. I think Patrick Paul will be fine, but he's not Armstead. Hill is great on the field, but he's a head case. After Hill and Waddle, there's a lot of question marks at the wide receiver group. I think Nick Westbrook, Kenny, and Malik Washington are good players. I'm not sure if they're legit third and fourth wide receivers in this league, though. We're going to find out. Once we trade Jonnu, that's going to hurt there. I mean, we have no receiving tight ends. And I know they want to run the ball more, but once again, seeing is believing, and this head coach never sticks to the running game. So we'll see. We'll see. But again, I think Tua is a good player, but I don't know if we're going to see an improved Tua in 2026. I think we're going to see the same guy we saw last year and the same guy we saw for most of 2023. And we'll win a few games, and we'll probably be in the mix. And like mid-December, late December, when they show the graphic for the playoffs, you're going to have your 4 teams atop each of the AFC, the East, the North, the South, and the West. Then you'll have like 1 or 2 teams that are holding the wild card spots now, or 3 teams actually. Then the 10's going to be in the hunt, where they list about 5 other teams. I think Miami will always be in the hunt. Now, they might not be in the hunt to week 18 this year. They might not be in the hunt to week 17 this year. They might not be in the hunt to week 16 this year. But I think when you get around after the holiday in November into December, the first week or 2, they might be in the hunt, because I think that's the team they are. And I don't think Tua is a guy who's going to elevate the players around him, especially on offense this year, and lead this team in a year when maybe the defense takes a big step back and is not as good as it was last year. I don't see that. So we'll see, though. Look, as always, I hope I'm wrong. And again, not being negative, stating, just hating. These are my thoughts. We'll find out. And as always, that's why they play the games. All right, folks, that's all for today's show. As always, follow us on all the social media channels: TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, @DolphinsTalk. Check out the website itself. We got a ton of new articles up, so go to DolphinsTalk.com. Again, the podcast, wherever you listen, subscribe on the Apple Podcast, 5-star rating, positive comment. I'll read it on the air. And I'll have a few more shows for you this week. We'll have some mini camp recaps, and I'm working on a few interviews as well. Everyone have a great Sunday night. Have a great Monday. We'll talk to you again after a while. Folks, don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity. Hey, everyone. Mike here from DolphinsTalk.com. Real quick, I just want to give a thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Also, just want to say thank you for all the support you provide us here at DolphinsTalk.com and have over the many years. We thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's much appreciated. Without you, there would be no us. I know there are so many other podcast options out there these days, whether it's true crime, the NBA, Major League Baseball, news, politics, and of course, other Miami Dolphins podcasts as well. We really do appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day, each and every day, to watch our stuff here at DolphinsTalk.com. Also, if you like this show and want more content from us, please be sure to sign up for Dolphins Talk Extra. Go to patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. We have a private message board where you can interact with only extra members and ourselves here, the staff at the website. We have extra podcasts about the Dolphins and also extra podcasts not about the Miami Dolphins. And we give away a ton of prizes. We have a ton of contests that are exclusive to Dolphins Talk Extra members. We give away autographs, memorabilia, jerseys, hats, all that fun stuff. So everyone, please be sure to go to patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. It's $3 a month. It's really cheap. You'll have a lot of fun. Trust me. But once again, thank you so much. Everyone, have a great day.